I love sports.
Sports.
This is the Sports Page with Mitchell Williams on 97.3 and 99.3 SuperTalk, Mississippi.
It's a really solid baseball league for sure. That you got a top end, and but I think you got some folks in that middle range there that have been in that middle that any given year, man, they could make a huge jump and just be. I think you look at Marshall, last year, and what Greg and them did down there, I thought was really impressive, and I think you can see that at Arkansas State or just anywhere, to name a few, and just some really good coaches working hard at some really good places and getting support from their university with other things. So I think it's only going to get stronger personally.
My goodness, Coach Christian Ostrander talking about the Sun Belt Conference upcoming season. The Golden Eagles, everybody, open the season at home in a 3-game series that begins on Friday against UC Santa Barbara. Hey, how are you? Hope you and yours are well. This community sports radio program is brought to you in part by a whole lot of folks. We're on 99.3 and 97.3 simulcast every Monday evening. During drive time between 6 and 7. Want to thank all of our listeners on north of Laurel on 99.3 and on SuperTalkLaurel.com. And then those that are south of Hattiesburg on the northern part of Stone County on 97.3 or SuperTalk Hattiesburg.com for listening to us, this community sports radio program. We're just so glad to be here. We talked about baseball. Of course, it's going to be huge, y'all. Y'all know that from a season ticket standpoint, the university is sold out. It's 4th straight year. That 3-game series that begins with UC Santa Barbara is on Friday, of course, and they'll be led by preseason Sun Belt Conference selections Kobe Allen, Tucker Stockman, and Ben Higdon. Coach Ostrander, of course, they've got the Eagles going. They're ranked 2nd in the preseason in the Sun Belt coaches poll behind Coastal Carolina. I remember them when they made that run in the College World Series. Coach Ostrander has led the Golden Eagles to 90 wins in his 2 seasons in Hattiesburg. They were 47-16 last year, ranked number 20th in the USA Today preseason poll. Yeah, how about that? And so it's going to be awesome. So after this weekend, and it's going to be a lot of folk out there, the Eagles will then hit the road to take on Southeast Louisiana. Yeah, baseball is here, y'all. Baseball is here, and now that baseball is done, football has finished, right? And the high schools are also in the postseason part now. I guess they're from the basketball standpoint, and then, of course, baseball season begins for all of them. And, of course, we always like to, every couple of weeks, try to get an update from the Mississippi High School Activities Association about what's going on with them. And Coach Ricky Nieves, who does a really great job of leading the high school association, he has a podcast, and he knows that we hit it. We let everybody knows what's going on. So this is his most recent one. And it's about some legislation that just recently was taken up by the legislature, and then and some other different things from the Mississippi High School Activity Association. So here's Coach Nieves talking about several of these things.
And our executive committee, I would like to keep everyone informed about what went on in those meetings and what may have passed and may not have passed. First of all, in the council meeting, we had Bryce Yelverton and Jim Key talk about House Bill 2, the school choice bill that passed in the House but then died in the Senate with no vote, and then Senate Bill 2002, which may or may not pass, and that will be public to public. So we did talk about them extensively. We also honored the Section 3 music educators who come from our state of Mississippi, which is a great thing for us. Aaron Linton from Clinton Junior High and Pam Moody of Jim Hill were recognized as Section 3 Music Educators of the Year, and that encompasses 8 states. We had a second-time amendment that had passed the first time to establish the North Half and South Half Championship at our basketball semifinals. That was discussed, and all sides had an opportunity to speak to it. And that motion failed with a vote of 11 for and 26 against. So basketball will stay just like it has been in the last few years. We also had a first-time amendment on the agenda about reclassification in order to get our reclassification period equal to Arkansas, Alabama, and Louisiana. It was suggested or put up for us to have reclassification next year for 1 year and then follow it again the next year, reclassify again for 2 years so we can be on the same cycle. That proposal failed by a vote of 10 to 24. We also then discussed, informed the group about the consolidation of Lake County and Lake Central High Schools. They will become one high school during the 26-27 school year. And we encourage anyone considering consolidation to try to coincide that with a reclassification year. It makes it much simpler. At a later date, I will go over the executive committee. I don't like for these things to be too long, so I'll end that with that meeting, and then on Monday I will come back with a new one for what went on in the executive committee. Once again, thank you. Stay safe, and I would be remiss if I didn't thank everyone for their cooperation with soccer and basketball during the current ice storm. So thank you.
My goodness, Coach Ricky Nevis, the executive director of the Mississippi High School Activities Association, giving us some information, y'all, about what's going on. And I think it's really important for even the parents and folks that see our kids play in 18, 19 different sports it's offered from middle school to the high school, to know what's going on. And no year is the same. Things are changing all the time. So we're glad to have that information so we can pass along. Of course, we want to pass along as well. We said on this broadcast on last week that Coach Todd Monken, the former Southern Miss head football coach, would be officially named the new head football coach for the Cleveland Browns. And he was introduced on that Tuesday, and he was very emotional, Coach Monken was. And know that he was the first coach we served as being a chaplain at the university. And I remember when he got that call to go and be the offensive coordinator for Tampa for the coach then that was his best friend. And he loved what he was doing. Of course, he always wanted to be a head coach, so he went back to Georgia and he became an offensive coordinator, and they won 2 national championships there. And then he went to, of course, Baltimore, and where the Ravens, were, they were the stuff. Of course, Lamar Jackson won 2 NFL MVPs. So Coach Monken is now the head football coach. He's the first from Southern Miss to be ever a head football coach, and he went there, and we got. Now, this is what Coach said about having the opportunity and being able to come and be the head coach of the Browns. And let's listen to what he had to say in his initial news conference about a few things, especially as relates to staff. Come on, Coach, what you say? There we go. Yeah, let's hear from Coach Monken.
And I'm not going to get into staffing because that's not at this time to get into that. but they can be rest assured that we're going to keep the same system. We're still going to let them attack. We're still going to let them play free. I can't see any other way. They're a big reason why I took this job. The defensive players. I didn't take this job because of Jim Schwartz. I have a lot of respect for Jim Schwartz, but as I would hope he has for me. But I took it because of the players that are here, the ownership, Andrew Berry, and the ability to build this roster from the ground up on the offensive side. So, and I said this to the other guys. I didn't think I'd say it, but I'm going to say it. When I was preparing for the Cleveland Browns, I wasn't trying to chip Jim Schwartz. I was chipping Myles Garrett. And when I was sliding a protection to the outside backers or Grant Delpit that were blitzing off the edge, I was sliding the protection to the players. And when I was worried about throwing to the right against Denzel Ward or Tyson Campbell to the left, that's who I was worried about throwing at.
Coach Todd Monken, already knowing his personnel, y'all, he don't know he's as smart as a whip, and congratulations to Coach Monken. We reached out to him, and, man, he's excited. He's excited, and, wow, we can talk about those stories of how he helped get Southern Miss to a rightful place after a 1-win season, a 3-win season, and a 9-3 season that won the division his last year. More of the Sports Page when we come back.
This is The Sports Page with Mitchell Williams on 97.3 and 99.3 SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to SuperTalk, Mississippi. We're just jumping around. And, hey, did your team win in the Super Bowl? Well, the best team won for sure, right? Yes, the best team won for sure. The Seattle Seahawks were dominant against the New England Patriots, and we're going to play some sound from them in just a little bit from both teams. It's, of course, always on Media Day. Everybody gets to talk a little bit about a little bit of everything, but, man, it's awesome when you hear these guys talk about, you know, their faith, and it's just been awesome. And it was also awesome to see some of our folks do well. We had a young man who was always a member of our FCA at Gulfport. He was a great member of our FCA at Auburn, and he had 10 pass rush snaps last night, 2 sacks, and 1 big turnover, which was the difference in the game, wasn't it?
Fumble. And remember, Mike, this is a 4-man rush. One of the reasons that Drake May has had so much trouble finding somebody open down the field is they can't block the guys in a 4-man rush. And if you can't do that,
and one of those men in the 4-man rush, y'all, was a young man named Derek Hall. And he went to Gulfport High School, and he caused that fumble, which I thought was the difference in the football game on last night. And now he's a Super Bowl champion. And he has a crazy story now. Crazy story. He was born at 23 weeks old. He was born at 23 weeks with no heartbeat. And his doctors told his mother that he only had a 1% chance of surviving. All right. She refused to take him off life support, and he had a sack in the Super Bowl. Yeah. And those are the kinds of things that we were looking at it last night and just kind of crying because we knew that story. And he's an awesome young man, and he does a lot of things in the community in Gulfport. But here's the actual sack he had in the game. My goodness, Derek Hall. And so don't let nobody ever tell you that your story doesn't matter. He has a story because statistics would say that he shouldn't be here. But last night, in the biggest game, on the biggest audience and the biggest stage, he had a forced fumble and had a sack and had 10 pressures on the quarterback last night on Drake May, and it was the difference in the football game, and now he is a champion. So, my goodness, we're just excited about him. And also Charles Cross, who played left tackle for the Seattle Seahawks, who's out of Laurel, Mississippi. How about that? He was all state, and everybody wanted him, went to Mississippi State, and now he's a left tackle. He's one of the premier left tackles in all of the National Football League, number 67 in a Seattle Seahawks uniform, and now he is a world champion. So from Laurel, Mississippi, everybody, Laurel, Mississippi. Speaking of that, he used to be one of the high school kids around here that was looking for an opportunity. And National Signing Day was this past week, and it was a good day for the University of Southern Mississippi and their brand new head football coach, Coach Blake Anderson. And so Coach Anderson, he met the media, and he talked about it. And so let's listen to Coach Anderson about National Signing Day and what his thoughts about now getting ready to start and having to replace 3/4 of his roster. Here's Coach Blake Anderson, head football coach at Southern Miss.
Kind of move to the next phase of what's going on. The last couple of months, as you can imagine, have been organized chaos to some degree since taking the job in December. Hiring staff, recruiting players to stay, figuring out what holes to fill, and then the mad dash from January 1st until school started with the portal has been, really, I don't know how to explain it. Just an undertaking that you don't see every day. It's becoming more and more prevalent, obviously, in today's climate. But for us to bring in 85 people on visits in the course of that time and sign 55 dudes to build a roster to go out and compete this spring, that's a lot. Really pleased with how the staff handled it. Everybody did a great job jumping in with both feet and really rolling sleeves up and doing the work. We'll find out what kind of team we got as we go in the spring. We're excited about where we're at. We added 60 new scholarship players to the roster. 4 of those won't be here till the summer when you talk about high school guys and a couple of JC guys that need a little bit more work to do. But, from taking the job and kind of looking at the problem, 30 players graduated roughly, 28 players left, 16 of those went with Charlie to Memphis, kind of what we expected. Lost a few to the portal just because they had really good high evaluations out there, and they went and made 6 figures plus to go play at other places. And so that left us in a position with 26 returners and a big roster to fill. And to be able to close on roughly 64% of the guys that came to campus over the course of 3 weeks, and to be able to go out this spring with a full 85-man scholarship roster and roughly 105 guys to work with when you count walk-ons. That puts us in a position to go out and really compete and develop over the course of the spring. So we have a full staff, we have a full roster, and we have a ton of work to do. But excited about really turning the page to the next step off season, teaching offense and defense, getting to know who we even have, and kind of developing a team. So with that being said, man, what questions do you have?
I know it was a heck of an undertaking, but when you sit down and look at that roster, need, how you felt you met need, and like what jumped off the page initially, like we've got to get this, or is it like all the way across the board?
Yeah, really. Not to give you a political answer. There were holes everywhere. We have roughly 10 players that return, and that's including special teams. That's including kickers. So take the kicker. We got basically 7 players that returned that played any significant snaps. Only 1 starter, and that's Brock Roll. Everybody else played sparingly. Mathis Haygood probably played more than any of the other guys. We're talking about guys like Trey Horn, who played on special teams, Grant Page, who only caught a couple balls all year. Malik Caswell played extremely sparingly. We are building a team. And so when you ask me where, everywhere. In the sense that some rooms are completely all new. Some have a couple. The old line probably has got more guys back in the room from last year's roster than any. It was a massive undertaking, and we filled the roster with high school, JUCO, and portal players in all areas, and try to be thoughtful about not just loading up on one-year guys, be thoughtful about some 1, some 2, some 3, and even some 4-year guys to build and try to stabilize the roster. But And if you ask me where, it's hard to even know at this point until we get out and start figuring out where we knocked it out of the park, where maybe we got more development than we thought. I mean, all of the above.
Coach Cameron Johnson, Southern Michigan Media Center. My first question is, do you feel pressure at all to replicate or even add on to what Coach Huff was able to accomplish in his short time?
Well, man, I feel pressure every day. 24/7. That's just the nature of this job. But I don't feel any pressure other than what I put on myself. And nobody's been through what we're going through. Everybody is dealing with the same thing. We didn't lose the most guys. I mean, there's programs out there that lost more, but there's probably not a bigger overhaul than what we're dealing with. I want to win and win at the highest level. So the only pressure is what I put on myself, what I expect of us, and that is to compete for championships. So I think you did a really good job in year one, getting things back in the right direction. The energy changed, the culture changed. But as I just said, we're rebuilding a whole new team and relatively a whole new roster and a whole new staff. So the pressure is to be our best. That's it, be our best. Whatever that looks like right out of the gate. And so you would have to know me to understand that's through the roof. I expect us to go out and win. I expect us to win day one. And that's saying a lot, considering we don't even know what team we have. So I hope that answers your question, but compared to anybody other than what we are capable of doing is the only comparison we got.
Blake, there was obviously a big uniqueness even with this portal, being that transfer portal was only 15 days this year outside of the 2 transfer portals that you've had in the past, the coach leaving, like you've already mentioned. I guess, what did you learn throughout this process that you learned about yourself, but also even your staff that you hired?
Well, I learned a lot about staff and just their willingness to work. For me, really, alarm goes off at 5:30, you get up and you start to work. You've got a different group of recruits on campus every single day from January 2nd, basically till school started, on whatever day that was. But really pretty much 3 solid weeks of just anywhere from 6 to 16 recruits and families a day. And what I watched was there was never a time when they weren't grinding. They were either meeting with players, calling players, watching players, building the next day's schedule, building the next weekend's visit roster. We got guys that are willing to work and put in the time and energy. Our days would finish about 11:30. We do it all over again the next day.
My goodness, Coach Blake Anderson talking about National Signing Day, how really trying to rebuild the roster, starting completely all over again, right? At one time, there was only about 22 kids from the team from before. When we come back, we'll talk about what's going on at Pearl River when the sports page continues.
This is the Sports Page with Mitchell Williams on 97.3 and 99.3 Super Talk, Mississippi.
Welcome back to Super Talk, Mississippi. Don't forget, y'all, the Southern Miss Golden Eagles ranked 20th in the preseason. Opens up at home in a 3-game series that begins Friday against UC Santa Barbara. Of course, Colby Allen, Tucker Stockman, Ben Higdon, that group that was so good that won 47 games last year for Coach Christian Ostrander. They're now preseason ranked 2nd in the coaches preseason poll, and 90 wins in the first 2 seasons for Coach Ostrander. They'll be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 3 games set, and then they'll have to go on the road against Southeast Louisiana on Tuesday. So mark your calendar. There's going to be a whole lot of folk out there. If you're a season ticket holder, you're one of the folks that helped sell that thing out for the regular season. My goodness, in terms of tickets and tickets availability for the 4th straight year. All information, you can go to southernmiss.com. Y'all, don't you know that one of the fastest growing sports that we have that's in our state is archery? Yeah, it is. And, of course, Pearl River is under Adam, Dr. Adam Breerwood. He's always on the forefront of trying to make availabilities for student athletes. And, of course, we talked about the esports, right? You remember that? And then there are all kind of different opportunities that they now have Pearl River, including archery. And they have now opened up their season. And with us is the head archery coach at Pearl River 1, Kyle Moss. Hello, Coach. How you doing?
Hey, Mitchell, how's it going?
Doing just right. Well, I tell you what, you're starting a program and having a program going, and heck, you start off the season winning medals. Talk a little bit about winning and getting 4 medal finishes at the USA Archery Mississippi Indoor State and Championship, Joe Championship, hosted by William Carey. Talk about that a little bit.
Sure. So coming into this program, kind of starting off, I wanted to see where the kids were at, where the program was at. Just kind of came in. I didn't want to change too much right before the first tournament. Just kind of went in order of kind of the biggest issues I saw with individual shooters, got those fixed, and really just wanted to bring them to this competition so they can get a taste of what this level of competition looks like, as well as the format of it. So in this kind of competition, they're shooting 60 arrows in a row, which doesn't sound a whole lot, but some of these kids are shooting full power hunting bows at 70 pounds. So it stacks up pretty good.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a litmus test to see where they would be at with the little changes we made, and it turned out great. We brought 10, and 5 came home with medals, so can't ask for a better kind of season opener than that. And so now we're kind of starting from scratch and getting everything fine tuned to back at William Carey at the end of this month for indoor nationals. So hoping to make a big showing there too.
Man, that's so awesome. Y'all are listening to Coach Kyle Moss, the head archery coach at Pearl River Community College, and they've just started the season, and they've got 5 medals, and archery collegiately is now made available at the school. And Kyle, talk about the challenges of that. I know that, right down the road over there at the Forest County Multipurpose Center, it's like every year, I don't know if it's South State or if it's a district competition given by the Mississippi High School Acuity Association, but there are throngs of kids involved with archery here in Mississippi. Talk a little bit about that and how you go about the approach of building a program.
Absolutely. So like you said, archery is one of the fastest growing sports in our state and in the nation. And Mississippi for a long time had kind of an untapped potential of talent. And I have to give credit, Mr. Waldo Cleveland, who
yes, sir,
now passed on,
did
a fantastic job bringing the sport into the state and making it accessible. I was just talking with one of the coaches at a tournament I was recruiting this last weekend, and there are some high quality, high caliber archers in this state that nobody knows about. So, as far as, high school kids and professional archers. One of the challenges that I face when I'm building a team, and I'll kind of go into one of the things that's changed that a good bit. You have so many kids out there, and a lot of them don't know that these programs exist now. So just awareness of it, being out there, recruiting, and looking at what they're doing, but also the potential that they have. So trying to find the kids that want to continue in this, have a passion for it, and have that potential to take the next step. The bows and the equipment that we're using is pretty different from what they're using in high school. So it's a big difference. The bows they're shooting in high school go up to about a 20-pound draw weight. So think of like if you're lying flat on a bench and picking up like a 20-pound dumbbell off the ground. So that's about what you'd be at, versus going up all the way to 70 pounds for some of these bows. So, but the great thing that I've seen in the last couple of years with the National Archery in the Schools program and the Mississippi Archery in the Schools program is they've started this new, where they're using these new Gen X bows called Elite Archery. So these bows are a lot more similar to what we're using in collegiate. They go up to about 45 pounds. They start to introduce sights, releases, everything like that. And it kind of gives them just a little bit of a sneak peek at what they're going to be doing. Because these collegiate archers, they're competing against other college students, but they're people of all ages at these events. For USA Archery Nationals, for example, some of these will be competing against people that are like knocking on the edge of being professional. And then now it's just heating up more than ever for the 2028 Olympics. I know we're watching 2026 in Milan. Wife and I were just watching a curling match. But for the 2028 Olympics, they're adding compound archery. They've had recurve archery for years, but they're adding compound archery. So it's really kind of stepping up, the stakes, and it's really great to see the sport getting a lot more visibility. But it's great, and I hope one day that we have a couple kids come through the program that gets to compete at that level. To kind of give you an idea of how hard some of these shots are. So for our open compound division, which we had 2 competitors in that division, the 10 ring is smaller than a nickel, and they're shooting that at 18 meters or 20 yards.
Wow.
For indoor.
Wow.
So one of my students, Jackson Martin, out of 600 at that competition, shot a 584.
Wow.
So 20 of his 60 shots made it in that nickel. So it's definitely challenging, but I have a great group of students that's up to the challenge and is hungry to grow, and I can't ask for a better group to start off with. Man,
that's so informative, y'all. And y'all, if you're listening, I tell you what, y'all, the kids that he has, some of these kids are from West Jones, Simpson Academy. We have kids from Petal, Raleigh, a lot of local kids. Of course, there's kids from across the state, but Picayune, but you see these local kids that are being involved in this. Only got a few seconds left. What do you want to see the rest of the way, Coach?
I really want to see them grow together as a team. I want to see them grow as individuals in the classroom and on the competition field. And I just want to see them hit their full potential. I'm looking to build, great archers, great athletes, but I'm trying to build a good, well-rounded person. That way, whether they go to university or the workforce, or if they choose to compete in this, well after college, I want to try to prepare them as best I can.
My goodness, boy, that's the heart of a coach. Wow. The best to you, Coach. And I pray, man, that what you are requesting, the Lord will give you favor on that. That's so awesome because of the stage and theater, y'all, of sport, and when the influence of the coach has the heart of seeing a kid be developed throughout that process. It's one of the most beautiful things you ever want to see. Thank you so much for the time, and hopefully we can visit again.
I appreciate it, Mitchell. Have a great one.
Thank you. Coach Kyle Moss, y'all, the head archery coach at Pearl River. They had 10 kids that competed last week at an archery contest at William Carey, and 5 of them, y'all, they just built a program, but 5 of those kids medaled. And, man, when you got one kid that out of a possible 600 did 584 and shooting that thing and hitting a nickel, the size of a nickel, that's kind of crazy. Wow. All right, y'all, some things from the Fellowship of Christian Athletes we want to pass along to you. Y'all know, Easter's going to get here quick. How about this? If I told you that Easter's about 50 days away, would you believe me? Yes, it is. It is the first weekend in April, but it's not a full weekend. So Good Friday, the Breakfast of Champions, is scheduled for April the 3rd. A former USM linebacker, Swayze Bozeman, now former USM linebacker, now NFL linebacker with the Giants. Swayze Bozeman will be our speaker. Of course, he was there 3 or 4 times as a student, and now he's a grown man married and got a child, young Swayze Jr., and we can't wait to have him. That's 7 o'clock at the Lake Terrace Convention Center, and we're going to have a packed house, it looks like, and we're still working. If you'd like to sponsor, you want to bring your Sunday school class, or if you have a business or what, and you want to see some really awesome stuff, because one of the things at the Breakfast of Champions, y'all, that we do, and we've been doing that going on 15, I guess this will be our 14th year of celebrating young kids that are high character. Yeah, the kids that do it not only on the field, but off the field. And for this old former broadcaster, we spent so much time celebrating kids that did things on the field or the court. And that was great. But, man, those kids that sometimes they'll never get any limelight, but the Lord has their hands on them because of what they do in the locker room and how these other kids that are so athletically gifted, how they look at them. And they have an aroma, they have an influence on them like never before. So we celebrate that on Good Friday. It's a worship service. So you can go at 7 a.m. On Good Friday, April the 3rd, and we'd love to have you. My email, you can go to the website, Southeast msfca.org, Southeast msfca.org, and click on events. You'll see my information, my email, and all. You can do that. And hey, if you want to play golf, the 14th annual Bobby Meyer FCA Golf Classic is Monday, May 4th. We've been playing on a Friday or a Thursday, but now we're playing on a Monday, and it's going to be good. So you can go and click on events there. It's a 4-man scramble. And, hey, you hit a hole-in-one, I think, on 2. You get a Toyota. Ooh. And all kind of stuff. Got a putting contest. You may win $5,000. We got all kind of stuff on there. Just stuff we do every year. Want to thank all of our sponsors who help make this happen. We'd love to have a new one or 2 or 3. When we come back, we'll cross the T and dot the I and get ready for the rest of the week. The sports page continues in just a moment.
This is the Sports Page with Mitchell Williams on 97.3 and 99.3 SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Hey, welcome back to SuperTalk, Mississippi. Crusader Talks at the top of the hour, 97.3. Hope you and yours are doing just right. I want to thank all the folk that were on the broadcast with us. And also, I want to remind everybody the big weekend this weekend, and it's Valentine's Day weekend, too. Woo, yeah. It is Southern Miss baseball against UC Santa Barbara. So for those of us who have been around for a while, Valentine's Day is Valentine's Day. But I'm just flooded with memories of delivering flowers for my mother, who was a florist during Valentine's Day. And I remember, I remember delivering some flowers to a lady who was 88 years old. And she was sent flowers from a young man who was 91 years old. That's right. And he called it in, and, we went over there and go see it. And we delivered those flowers to her, and she was excited. But he only sent 6 roses, and she just went off on me. She said, why do you think he might send me 12? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Then she gave it to me. She said, well, take it back to him. And I said, for real? She said, no, I'll just give it back here. Valentine's Day is full of a lot of stories, y'all. That was on the east side of Hattiesburg. It was funny. I'll never forget that story. And so just love the people around you the best you can. And I got a granddaughter that I got 2 of them that I'm excited, spend Valentine's Day with them. So, hey, also there is a shameless plug. We got a family conference at Grace Temple Church this weekend. Go to gracetemple.com and you get some more information about that. I mean, you got a family, you got a young couple, you think about getting married, all that. You got some time this weekend, Friday and Saturday. We'd love to have you. All right. Hey, if you watch the Super Bowl, yes, Seattle won, but usually it's a time when everybody wants to, come during the media day, but Sports Spectrum oftentimes find the athletes that have a degree of faith, and they open up about their faith. And here's some of the comments. Y'all listen to this, under that big stage. Some of these folks who follow Jesus, listen to this.
Shine light on others and get them to follow Jesus Christ is what God put me here to do.
Having Jesus to rely on is why I am who I am today.
Jesus has given me the ability to just stay level-headed. My faith in Jesus has meant everything to me. It's really my foundation. It's my rock that keeps me steady.
Keeping my eyes on the Lord helped me block out all the noise and trust in Him.
And, His way is the best way, and, Jesus is love.
I wouldn't be where I am without God. I wouldn't be in this position. I'm grateful. I give Him all the glory.
I know I wouldn't be anywhere without God. No matter what happens in my career, I know I'll be all right because of this.
The only thing that can truly fulfill us is Jesus Christ. It's not the money. It's not my accomplishments. It's not anything else, but only Jesus.
Those are NFL football players, y'all. NFL football players, millionaires and getting naked and transparent about it. Now, remember these are guys that are in the National Football League. They didn't all of a sudden come and become Christians. It's that beautiful thing that happens oftentimes in college and in high school. And really the influence of that coach that just loves them. I was talking to a young man today who is now going to go and be a coach at Ohio State. But he was a young man that was at Southern Mississippi trying to find out who he was. And now he's gone on to change the world. He had it in him. but his relationship with the Lord has always been at his root. So this is just a little challenge as we head into Valentine's Day weekend, and you heard these guys, you can tell that they love the Lord and they love football. But let me ask you a question. Do you stay in the center of what you love most? Do what you do best. Your work should produce your joy. Right. The scripture says in Ecclesiastes 3:13, and also that every man should eat and drink and enjoy the good of all of his labor. It is the gift of God. Yeah. Your work should produce your joy. And also your joy is determined by doing what you love to do. You know, Jesus, of course, associated with fishermen. He talked to tax collectors, doctors, and lawyers, and religious leaders all the time, but he never wavered from his focus, right? The Bible says that God anointed Jesus of Nazareth with the Holy Spirit and with power. And he went about doing good and healing all that were oppressed of the enemy, for God was with him. That's Acts 10:38. Your joy is determined, y'all, by doing what you love. Jesus knew his mission. So here are the questions. The questions are this. What do you love to do? What do you love to talk about? What would you rather hear about than anything else on earth? What would you do with your life if money was not a factor? And what do you do best of all? What do you love to do? Number one, what do you love to talk about? What would you rather hear about more than anything else on earth? What would you do with your life if money was not a factor? And what do you do best of all? Wow. Stay in the center of what you love most. Just a thought. And never forget this. Don't let this interrupt anything else in terms of your mindset. Let your joy be determined by what you love. That might be your family, what you do or what, but joy, yeah. My grandmother used to say, this joy I have, the world didn't give it, and the world can't take it away. Crusader Talk is at the top of the hour with Josh and Caleb. That's on 97.3 and SuperTalkHattiesburg.com. From all of us to all of you, we hope that you have an awesome, incredible, and fruitful weekend. Don't forget baseball this weekend over at Pete Taylor Park. We hope to talk to you same time, same place next week. Take care, everybody. God bless.